Hey, Indian Creek 8th grade students, it's Professor Blazek, and I'd like to welcome you to another installment in our Road to a 4 video series looking at your social issues essay. In this video, we're going to be looking at writing your outline, which is the backbone of your essay. So let's go ahead and let's jump right in. Now, your outline is what is going to lay out your plan for describing your ideas and presenting the information of your essay. You can think of your outline as the skeleton of your essay. Now, you don't need to go into too much detail when you're writing an outline. The purpose of an outline is to think about what you want to say and when you want to say it and get that plan laid out. So don't worry about writing in complete sentences or in coming up with full paragraphs. This is just more notes on when you're going to make the different parts of your argument, when you're going to give the information from your research, again, all in one consistent plan. And the reason that we use outlines is that if you didn't use an outline, it would be like going on a long road trip without a map. And obviously, this would not be a good idea. And so this is why we take the time to write outlines when we are planning our essays. Now, there are different levels to an outline, and they each have a different way that they are marked in an outline, and they each have a different purpose. So the highest level is the paragraph level, and it is marked by a Roman numeral. So you can see here Roman numeral 1. This is our first paragraph. You don't need to add any more than this in your outline. Just leave it there to make sure that you know when you're switching between your different paragraphs. Now, each paragraph is then broken down into main points, and these are given by capital letters. So A, B, C, D, you all know the alphabet. Main points are the important ideas that you want to discuss about your topic. So if you're thinking about an outline in terms of a puzzle, the entire outline is all of the pieces of the puzzle put together. Then your paragraph is maybe a big chunk of pieces, and then your main point is one section of that chunk. So you can see there a handful of puzzle pieces all put together. These are your main points, and then you will break your main points down into areas that give discussion or support or connections between your writing and your topic. So these are the areas where you would explain your idea, you would give your quotes or paraphrases from your research, you would give other support, just whatever you are looking to do to discuss your main point, to make your argument in talking about your topic. So these pieces would be the individual puzzle pieces. And you can see that they all come together to create your main point. All of your main points come together in that single idea that you're talking about in your paragraph. And so then once you would finish talking about your first main point in a paragraph, you would move on to your second main point. Here it is denoted with the letter B. And this is expanding on or connecting to what you just talked about in part A. Because remember, these main points are all in one paragraph. They're all connected to that same overarching idea, so they all need to be related. And then you would also break this main point down again into your discussion, your support, your connection. So again, continuing to talk about your idea, giving quotes and paraphrases, offering support, etc. This is what you will do for every main point in your outline. So make sure that you are breaking your main points down far enough that you are really fully explaining them. This is an absolute must when you're writing your outline. And then once you get finished with discussing the main points in a paragraph, the last thing that you need to add is your transition. And your transition is a sentence or two that connects the paragraph that you have just finished writing with the paragraph that you're going to talk about next. And the reason that we include transitions and the reason that you need to make sure that you take some time to write really strong transitions is that you want to help your reader along the way of reading your essay and give them the information they need to know I was just talking about this main point. Now I'm going to start talking about this main point. And if you have really strong transitions, all of your writing will flow really well and it'll be easier to understand. Whereas if you don't really use transitions, there's a chance that you might sort of shock your reader because you talk about one of your main ideas and then all of a sudden you jump to a new main idea and your reader's left wondering, okay, is that all they had to say about that main idea? What does this new idea have to do with what they were talking about before? Using good, strong transitions can prevent your reader from feeling confused by what you are saying. So make sure that you take some time when you're sitting down to write your transitions for your outline. And then obviously after a transition, you would go right into paragraph 2, and then you would complete the same process that you did for paragraph 1, giving your main points and then your support, your discussion, your quotes, all of those different pieces. So just remember again that you need to take time when you're writing transitions and make sure that they connect to what you wrote before and what you're going to write afterwards. Again, these are sort of the glue that keep your essay together as one cohesive argument. If you use great transitions, that's the mark of really, really strong writing. So make sure you take time when you're writing your transitions. Now, just a reminder that your outline is when you're going to rearrange all the notes, the ideas, everything that you came up with from doing your research, and you put them into a coherent plan. And this means that when you sit down to actually write your rough draft, you're going to have focus because you know that you're going to talk about this point here, and then you're going to give this information, this research, this quote. You know exactly what pieces you will use and what messages you're going to write about at each point in your essay. If you don't use an outline, you might find yourself just wandering back and forth between your points when you're actually writing your rough draft. So this is something that you want to make sure you avoid because, again, this will just be confusing for your reader. By using an outline, you can get your points down, you can get everything that you want to say about those points, and then move on to the next point so that there's no danger in you all of a sudden jumping back to something you were talking about before that really doesn't have anything to do with what you're talking about at the point that you're writing whatever section it is of your rough draft. So let's look at an example section for an outline. So we will be using the same theme, the same topic that we have for the videos before, which is paying college athletes. So in paragraph 1, my first main point could be that college athletics earn exorbitant amounts of money for schools. And then I could go on to say that there are large tournaments and television deals that are cash cows for the schools involved. And then I can use a quote that I found that says the NCAA will get more than $760 million this year from CBS and Turner for the men's basketball tournament. So again, using that quote from my research to discuss my main point about schools making a lot of money from college athletics. And then I could give my own sort of thought or explanation and say that this money is earned on the backs of players, yet they get none of it. So you can see how I have a main point, and then it's broken down into my other information, my quotes and paraphrases, and then what I have to say myself. And then the other example section I wanted to give you would be a transition. So once I wrapped up that first paragraph talking about how much money schools make from college athletics, I could use a transition like this in saying that beyond the fact that players are the ones earning all of this money for college athletics, there is also a major time commitment required in participating in college sports, which is nowhere near fully compensated by current scholarship systems. So you can see that I talk about the money that's made by college athletics, which was my earlier paragraph topic. And then I'm transitioning into my next paragraph, which would be talking about the time that college athletes have to spend when they're involved in sports and how this time that they're spending is nowhere near enough when compared to the money that they're getting in current scholarship systems. So it would preview for my reader what I'm going to talk about next and also wrap up the paragraph that I just finished writing about. Just an example of a really good, strong transition. So in your packet, when you're ready to sit down and write your outline, fill in your own information in the provided outline. Again, it's been given in a way that's broken down for you already. Don't worry about labeling your paragraphs. You can just leave them as paragraph 1, 2, etc. And don't feel the need to add detail to your introduction or conclusion, because we're going to work on writing these separately in the next steps of our writing process. So always remember that when you're writing an outline, you just need to use short phrases. And then when you finish your outline and sit down to write your rough draft, you are going to make these phrases evolve into full or multiple sentences so that you get those pieces in your outline and then you expand upon them when you're writing your rough draft. So just keep this in mind. You don't need to write full sentences when you're writing your outline. Now, once you have finished your outline, you are done with step 4 in our writing process and are ready to move on to step 5, which is writing your introduction. I will be back soon with a video looking at exactly how you are going to do that. Until then, this has been Professor Blazek, and I will see you next time.